Hey, Nico.
Yes, Julian. Hi.
Um, no, I'll just say something in line with what you were speaking with. Um, it interests me that there seems to be, I don't know how to call it, an alignment or something. There seems to be something that the deeper you can be in contact with what is, with everything that appears, with every difficult thing, with every difficult pain, the choice that happens mysteriously seems to be better in a way. Like,
Yeah, correct.
so a lot of
Because
it's mysterious. It's like a choice that happens, but if you're not, yeah, well, I don't have much more clarity than that actually in words, but yeah.
yeah, the thing is that when you are in rejection of something of what is, to the degree that you're in rejection of what is, you can be in rejection of the whole thing, or you can be in rejection of something subtle. So there's a gradient of how deeply or not you are rejecting what is. And in a sense, that reflects a level of integrated wakefulness. So the more you are deeply rejecting everything that is, the more in illusion you are, let's say. But also another way to look at it is the more you're rejecting, the more you are identified with beliefs, with thoughts. Because only in thoughts and by believing them can you reject what is. You need to have a concept about something and then a belief that that should not be how it is.
Yeah.
To a greater or lesser degree. But now, the more you are in those beliefs, which is identification, the more the choosing is conditioned.
Mm.
The movement and the choosing that the universe can do through you will be conditioned. The options will be narrow. Because you will be more or less of in a system of avoiding and manipulating what is. Now, the more you are able to be with whatever is, and more able to be open to any kind of discomfort or pain that might arise from whatever choice moves, then the potential of movement of possibility is vaster. And therefore, let's say the universe can act more regularly and from a deeper place.
But isn't it also like, um, if you're rejecting something of what is, it's like you're seeing a narrow, well, maybe it's the same thing you're saying. You're seeing a narrow part of reality, and if you really can see all of reality, you take a decision from a
That's
more
another way to
yeah, that's
describe it. Yeah, because
yeah.
when I'm saying in the you're believing the thoughts, that's a perspective of it's not even a narrow part of reality. most likely it's not reality, it's illusion.
Yeah.
And then the options that you have are narrow. If you can only go left or right, what if what the universe wants is forward? But you don't
Right.
have that capacity because you are restricted by the belief system only left or right. And so you will resist anything that is a movement forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it super interesting because I think I'm starting to see it in my life.
Nice, yeah. And a description of kind of the felt sense of that is the more I'm identified, the more the sense is I am choosing. It's all up to me. I'm getting it right or wrong. It's stressful, it's tense, it's challenging, and it's frictional. And on the other end is choosing happens. It's mysterious how, where it's coming from. There's flow, and there's a sense of ease and well-being. Even when there is challenges, even when there is pain.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like that. It's as if trust was starting to grow a little bit in the sense like everything is it can be capitalized, even the worst pains. It's um
Yeah.
it's a force, can be a force of good, or it is if you look at it in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that also makes your level of trust uh, start increasing. And
Completely. And that also, that to you could take that to a point where you start speaking of faith instead of trust. This thing is recognizing my thumb. Let me can't take it out. Um, and it brings in a bit of a religious tone, but it is that, in a sense, that the true faith is not in a belief system.
mm.
It's in that deep trust of what is, deep trust of this mystery. And at that point, even pain can become so deconstructed because the experience of pain as a bad thing is also a belief system.
Yeah.
To the point where there could be pain and there could just be an intense sweet sensation.
Yeah, I remember when you talk about when the component of fear comes out of the pain, that it the quality changes completely of the pain.
Yeah, I realized that many, many, many years ago, but it took me many years for it to become more of a just like a part of my daily reality. But when I saw this pain increasing, and the more it increased, the more it was painful. But I realized what was increasing with it was the fear.
Mm.
And there was a moment where the fear disappeared, And then the sensation that I was calling pain didn't change, but because the fear wasn't there, the taste was different. It's as if there was a filter of fear, and so that was calling it pain. And the instant the fear left, that sensation was tasted as love. And it was so radical, the change, that it completely changed my perspective on pain. For many years, I would still experience it with the fear, but I knew there was something more. I knew a big part of it was the fear. And so when fear, in a sense, was at that deep level seen as an illusion, then in a sense, pain in that way I've never experienced again.
When was a fear seen as an illusion?
That happened
Gradually?
No, it happened suddenly. It was a realization, but it took time for it to kind of affect my kind of system. It was gradual in the sense of how it's my thoughts and the activation emotionally, body, mind, all of that kind of slowed down gradually. But the realization was a glimpse that the source of it was the ending of me. So when pain increased, the fear was, in a sense, what I was talking about earlier. I can't handle this. If this doesn't stop, or it goes too long, or it goes too intense, it'll be the end of me. And the fear ended when I saw that I'm not what I thought I was. So what I thought I was, only what I thought I was could end. But I'm not that. What I am has no beginning and no end. And so then that kind of fear didn't activate pretty much since. And then the kinds of pain that have come up since, I can talk about them as pain, but they're not felt like they used to be. And I've even had the experience where I've mentioned this a few times, but Catherine pointed out to me that she saw a change in how I was affected by physical pain, like getting cut, even physical pain. Before it would activate fear, and I would have a reaction, and I would have a bit of a torment. Then I would have, like, if it's something that I did, I would then go into kind of a self-punishment. So there was this whole drama about just cutting myself, and then it was so different that I wasn't even remembering that's how it was for me before. But Catherine did, and it was so sudden, kind of from one day to the next. I was cooking one time, and I was trying to cut a big squash, like a really big hard squash, and we have a big knife, and I was putting like all my weight on the knife, and the back of the blade, not even from my weight, kind of sliced the palm of my hand. I was putting all my weight, just cutting a big squash. and I just, it was just blood coming out, and I was like, wow. Catherine was like, your hand. And I was just like, wow, yeah, I guess I need to wash it. And there was absolutely no reaction. And then 5 minutes later, was Catherine was telling me like, what the hell happened there? Like you were normally, you would have been freaking out, kicking yourself, upset, kind of like having a whole tantrum drama, like freaking out. And it was just gone. It was just this sensation like, wow, that's very interesting. So the direct experience of that cut wasn't, yes, I would call it pain. It's the proper word. But it wasn't like it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I kind of intuited that the suffering part of it is caused by the fear, but
It's the fear. Yeah, it's exactly. It's the whole rejection of it and the pulling away from it. And
yeah,
you see it. I've noticed it with young children, that one can fall, hit its head like really bad, and the next one falls, hits his head a little bit, and it's like, ah! And screaming to the mother, and the mother comes like, oh, you okay? But the other one I've seen just like boom, and then like, wow, ooey, this kind of like, and then just keep going, and then like after a minute he's like, oh, that hurts still. But there's a very different kind of relationship to that. And it's basically one activated fear and the other one didn't. One activated a sense of like, I'm not okay. Mommy, can you make me okay? This is scary. Like something really bad just happened. And there's this sense of something's not okay. And then, Mommy, can you make me feel okay? Or Daddy, can you make me feel okay? And then Mommy and Daddy can try or can make it worse. all things happen. um, but it's mostly, I see that as, something that parents can help us learn, but then ultimately it's for us to learn. But initially it's that sense of you're okay from a parent. And then it's something you can start to shift internally as well.
yeah, yeah. No matter what you're feeling,
No
you're
matter
going
what.
through. Yeah.
What is, because you start to see that that which is not okay is not ultimately what you are. What is ultimately not okay is the body mind. The body's gonna go. Guaranteed.
So there's no other way out than seeing you're not the body mind.
Yeah. It's literally like I believe I am this hand, then I go through amputation and I'm still here and I'm okay. So that's a true glimpse. that which you thought you were vanishes, and you're still there. And it's seen so clearly that what you thought you were is not real, in the sense that it's something that comes and goes. But that's not liberation. It's a beginning.
So is what Francis called the liberating glimpse, or
Yeah. It's a liberating glimpse because it initiates liberation. It's like planting the seed.
and everything that disappears, or just the thoughts with which you identify with that you think you are.
Everything. And then also there's another glimpse where, while the body mind remains, while there is perception, while there is experience, what you thought you were disappears. But there is still experiencing.
Yeah. But we're not in control of that either.
Well, I don't say that, because you're you're
What?
saying that suggests, it's all a matter of language, right? And when you say that, it suggests, well, I'll do nothing.
Yeah.
I haven't, and that's a dogma. It's a belief system. I would say the illusion that you are can't do anything, but you can.
Yeah. Yeah, the same you that we were talking before that learns to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where language gets tricky, right? And when there's a teaching, there's a teaching school, we can call it Buddhism, Advaita, etc. Then there's a whole kind of framework, there's languaging, there's pointings but it's all words. And so then those words, those pointings can get used in service of belief systems.